Right now, the Republican Party is working on a super secret version of Trumpcare. Now, they're working on it in order to try to ram it through before July 4th, or before they take their Independence Day break. Wonderful. Now, because nothing says America, of course, like depriving Americans of health insurance, or at least 23 million of them. Now, since this is secret, we don't know the specifics of what is going to be in it, which says to me one thing: it's going to be terrible. It's going to be so bad that they don't want you to know what's in it or what they're changing. Now, if you have to hide the bill before it's passed, that doesn't seem to bode very well for the people who are going to be affected by it. Okay. Now, Vox's Sarah Kliff, who has covered the ACA, was actually very stunned at the silence of the Republicans on the AHCA. Now, you'd think, of course, that if the Republican bill was so fantastically awesome, well, they would be touting the provision, right? That they would actually be out there saying, man, this bill is going to be so great. We're working on it. Here's a snapshot of what's in it, but we'll do a full reveal. No, nothing. Not a zip. Private. You cannot know what's going on, what we're working on, what we're changing. Now, look, Kliff writes, there are no committee hearings, there are no floor speeches defending the policy provisions in the Senate. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell instead had assembled an ad hoc working group to hash out the details of the Obamacare repeal in private meetings. So let's compare that secrecy to what's going on in the ACA. Now, Julie Rovner, who wrote a piece on this a while back, is quoted as saying that there were hundreds of hearings and markups that lasted days, or in the case of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, months. So these were public meetings. They sat there and they talked about it and they deliberated, and this was a very transparent process, at least compared to what the Republicans are doing now, which Rovner described as, quote, extremely secretive and without precedent. Now, look, I seem to remember a lot of conservatives that were up in arms about Nancy Pelosi touting the bill, the Obamacare, and saying, hey, man, you got to pass the bill to see what's in it. Huh? Got to pass it. Really? Now, look, thing is, are you outraged, Republicans? They're trying to get this thing passed without you seeing what's in it. Now, of course, thing is, right, they just want to pass something. That's what this is about. They're hiding it so they can shove this thing through, no matter how bad it is or no matter how many people it hurts. Now, Tierney Sneed, a reporter from Talking Points Memo, had recently asked, and this is evidence of that, right? They asked Orrin Hatch whether it was important to get the bill out a few days before the vote so the public could review what's in it and maybe get a CBO score. Now, you remember the last iteration of Trumpcare that passed in the House, they tried to ram it through before a CBO score. That shows how interested that they are in transparency. Well, his response was, quote, well, I think we're not worried so much about it as we are getting it together so we can get a majority to vote for it. Aren't you supposed to have all that stuff hammered out before you vote on it? I'm just saying, and to make sure that the people actually like what you're putting out first. That must be a novel concept. Now, what they're doing, their attitude is essentially, hey, let's throw something out there so we can vote for it and we can get it passed and let's go, let's go, let's go. Who cares about the details? Well, a lot of people who care about the details, I'm sorry, the people who care are the ones who are going to be affected. Now, while we do not know exactly what is in this bill, we can speculate based on what we know about the House version that was rammed through a while back. The House version and the Senate version are obviously going to be a little bit different, but you can be sure that it has the same kind of principles. One of the things reported, by the way, is that the Senate healthcare bill would retain the House's language allowing states to opt out of Obamacare's essential benefits requirements. Now, as Vox explains, This would free insurers to, among other things, sell plans that impose annual or lifetime limits on coverage benefits in certain states. So, again, these states could opt out of it. So, like Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, they could opt out of these, okay? So that was in the House version, right? And it's something Republicans in Congress were in favor of doing. So again, it would make sense that this would make it into the final Senate bill. Now, another impact of this is that it would free large employers to impose limits on those workers, even if they're in another state. So say you have a state or a company that's in Texas. You work for a company based in Texas, but has different branches all over the country. And you happen to not be in Texas, right? Well, they get rid of this provision. Well, they can apply those Texas rules to you. Let me give you a better example. Now, look, my example, I just used Texas as an example. Let's use a better example. Let's use Delaware, right? And the reason I picked Delaware is because that's where a lot of companies choose to incorporate and have their offices, right? In fact, half of all registered corporations have to be registered in Delaware, thanks to lower taxes and less regulation. Now, if Delaware chose to have less rigorous insurance company standards, and let me give you an example, right? Say they allow insurers to cap lifetime benefits at $1 million, right? Now let's take another state like Massachusetts, who might have actually banned those lifetime limit caps. Well, if they eliminate essential benefits, they allow people to opt out, right? So Delaware opts out, and it's got branches in Massachusetts, right? Well, sad day for you. That's what that means. That company will ignore that ban and impose lifetime caps even if you're in Massachusetts. So, again, sad day for you. That would essentially allow these companies to go to less regulated states and impose those lifetime limit caps so they wouldn't have to pay your insurance. Now, that essentially would take a lot of people, millions and millions of people, back to the bad old days, where roughly 60% of workers were enrolled in an employer plan that had these lifetime limit caps. Now, think about the instances of where somebody would end up going past that limit, and this is why it's important. For example, you have a terrible car accident. You can easily go past that lifetime limit. Now, car accidents have to be fairly common in America, so it's not like something that's completely out of the blue. Now, also, there is long-term debilitating disease, for example, cancer. Now, cancer, you can't go to an emergency room because it's cancer. You have to have a long-term treatment with an oncologist. You can't just roll up in an emergency room and be like, all right, give me some chemo. No, that's not how this works. You show up in an emergency room with cancer, odds are you're just going to get treated for the surface stuff. They'll refer you to an oncologist, and if you can't afford to go, you're not going to go. And then the next time you end up in an emergency room, you get treated again and again and again until you die in the emergency room. So that's what's wrong with this, with these caps. Okay. The result, of course, is that you're screwed. You hit the cap, you're dead. Essentially, your insurance is worthless. And like millions of people before the ACA, you would either go bankrupt, die, or likely both at the same time. So that's the important thing here. Okay. You might think, yeah, but look, companies, they're not going to do that, right? Maybe they'll do the right thing and introduce those limits into their employers' healthcare plans. After all, this is capitalism. We want to attract the best and brightest workforce. So we'll throw a little extra on top and make sure that we don't have those caps in our insurance plans that we offer. Wrong. That's actually wrong. According to a recent survey of large employers by Willis Towers Watson, 20% of companies told the firm that they would impose annual limits, while 15% that they would impose lifetime limits if Obamacare's protections were repealed. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but let me put it in terms of people. Using census data, the Center for American Progress projected that 27 million Americans with employer-based coverage would face these annual limits if the Senate bill passes, while some 20 million would face lifetime caps. That's actually a lot of people. That's somewhere around the 23 million people expected to lose insurance if the AHCA goes into effect. So you just add that on. And you've got a lot of people out there who are going to be suffering under this bill. Now, do you think that there are a lot of Republicans that are concerned? No, not really. Some of the voters, absolutely. A lot of the voters don't want it, but the politicians, they don't care. They have the best insurance the country can offer that is paid for by you. Well, don't you feel good about that? I'm sure a lot of people don't. Now, the truth is, and this is getting back to the secretive part, this is an effort, this entire bill, and I've explained this over and over again. The reason that they want to repeal and replace Obamacare so bad is that that this bill is nothing more than a giant tax cut. This is about getting rid of the taxes that Obamacare put on the wealthy and on corporations. They desperately want to roll that back because it means millions and millions of dollars in savings. That's the whole purpose of this. Okay? Getting rid of essential benefits, however, also is a big boom for corporate donors. They don't want to have to pay for those. Essentially, this entire thing is one giant giveaway to the wealthy and the corporations at the expense of you and your family. So if you were wondering why they are going to great pains to hide this bill and to rush it through, well, now you know. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.